Good morning, and I apologize for the delay. The focus of the debate this morning will sadly be on the lies fabricated by terror organizations regarding the situation in Jerusalem and on the Temple Mount, and not on the real critical threats to the Middle East. The threats, as you know, namely Iran and its dangerous nuclear program or its proxies like Hezbollah, destabilizing the region. On the Temple Mount, violence is incited and perpetrated only by a mob of Palestinian terrorists trying to hijack the holy site and inflame Jerusalem. This chaos and violence endangers Muslim worshippers and threatened Jews praying at the Western Wall. As a result, Israeli police had to intervene. Showing exemplary restraint, police protected the right to worship and succeeded in restoring law and order. Nevertheless, international bodies made far-fetched calls for calm from both sides. From both sides? Who are these sides? On the one side, we have the mobs of bloodthirsty terrorists calling to murder Jews, carrying weapons into their place of worship, throwing firebombs and rocks from mosque windows, and shooting firecrackers from within their holy sites. On the other side, we have a law-abiding democracy which ensures the freedom of worship for all, is committed to protecting holy sites, and shows respect and restraint before using minimal force only when necessary to protect others. And calls are made for calm for both sides? How detached from reality has the international community become? Terror groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad have spun a web of lies absurdly pointing the finger of blame at Israel for the violent riots that they themselves organized and carried out. If this narrative of lies is spread, the violent acts of terror will only escalate, as we've seen over the past few days with the indiscriminate firing of rockets from Gaza and Lebanon at Israel just last night. But a sad part of this spread of blatant fabrications is that this time the truth couldn't be more clearer. All of the events on the Temple Mount have been captured on camera. Photos and video footage showing exactly who is to blame for the chaos and violence are accessible to all. Yet, when I requested to show this footage to the members of the council at the debate, I was sadly denied. You all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video from a reliable source is worth 1,000,000 words. Just like the ostrich, many have buried their heads in the ground. Why bother with the facts and the truth when you can just blame Israel or make a false moral comparison between a vibrant democracy and terror organizations? Well, I refuse to let falsehoods to dominate the narrative. If I can't share the footage with the council, I will share a short video with you all here, as I'm sure that you will all spread the truth on your platforms, I'm sure. As you saw, please give me the video. Look at the extremist Palestinian mob, how they brought firecrackers, fireworks, rocks, Molotov cocktails, everything in order to prevent people from praying, Jews and Muslims. Look at the Hamas and terror organizations' flags on the Temple Mount. And look how they attack with huge rocks the buses that were carrying Jews to pray at the Western Wall. Everything was photoed and filmed. You just need to recognize the reality and take your head out of the sand. Shocking. And by the way, all the sounds and explosions that you hear belongs only to the Palestinian mob that used them. Our police acted in a restrained way. So as you saw, the only ones violating the status quo on the Temple Mount are the Palestinian terror groups inflaming the holy site. Israel will not allow terrorists to prevent any worshippers of any faith to exercise their right to pray. And Israel will not stand idly by as terrorists convert holy sites into battlefields. Israel is and continues to be committed to the status quo on the Temple Mount. To the international community, I say, enough. Stop putting Israel and radical Islamic terror groups on equal moral footing. It only intensifies the terrorist violence. Wake up. The truth is right in front of you. The time has come to pull your head out of the sand. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Pamela Falk from CBS News. What your foreign minister said this morning that the provocations were started by Hamas. Is that what that video shows? And what is the source of the video? Is there any way to stop the violence? Thank you.
On the Temple Mount and around the Temple Mount, there are security cameras that are operating 24/7, and everyone can watch and see what really happened there. But I mean, once you see the films, you have no doubt. I mean, these were terror operatives affiliated with Hamas, mainly, but also with Islamic Jihad, that are trying to hijack whatever is happening inside the mosque, outside the mosque, in the plaza in front of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And they desecrated the mosque by bringing inside the mosque weaponry like firecrackers, like Molotov cocktails, like big rocks that they threw at the police officers. And shockingly, I mean, the world and many in the international community are still using this moral comparison, like calling both sides. Who are these both sides? You have a vibrant democracy trying to defend the freedom of worship from being attacked by radical Muslims, terrorists, and the Security Council is continuing, to turn to both sides, and that's what I expect to hear inside, but I will criticize this approach.
As the meeting is about to start, Ambassador, can I take any more questions?
Yes, I will try.
Based in London.
Yes.
Mr. Ambassador, there are hundreds of videos that proves that your army is targeting innocent civilians. And everybody saw that lady, Taghreed Sabatin, who was shot at a close range. I don't want to argue with you, but do you want the Palestinian to embrace occupation, love occupation, throw chocolate at the occupation? Don't they have the right to resist occupation? Do you admit it's an occupation?
Israel is
do
not.
You admit it's an
I'm
occupation?
not going to argue with you on
Judea
and Samaria.
On
Judea and Samaria, this is our ancestral homeland.
So it's not
but
occupied.
Specifically Jerusalem, okay? We're not occupiers in Jerusalem, and we're not occupiers anyway in the land of Israel. And you know that only under Israel's sovereignty, the freedom of worship can be maintained, and that is what is happening on the Temple Mount, where we could see every Friday dozens of thousands of Palestinians are coming there to pray, and the Israeli police is securing them from your terrorist organizations. Thank you very much.